So it was another green day trading options in the stock market. And today we're going to break down one of the trades that I did take. I'm going to show you exactly what I saw on the chart from entry to exit. And then I'm also going to show you another trade I took. We're going to actually look at a live recording of that trade where I took it in front of my mentorship from entry to exit as well. That does set us up on the equity curve. You can see here since August 1st when I started tracking my progress and documenting this entire journey on YouTube every single day. We are now sitting at peak P&L. And I know I keep saying this a lot, but this was another day of peak P&L. Nothing crazy. It was a small green day, granted, but we are a bit higher there on the equity curve. Now, the one trade I want to first show you was ticker symbol IBM. Okay, so ticker symbol IBM. Now, this was a great example of a mid to low tide where we were able to enter IBM shorts. So we bought puts as I trade options. We were able to capitalize on just about a 2% move to the downside. Now, this trade was a $675 trade, around a 50% profit. So keep that in mind. I always like mentioning what the percentage was. So, you know, you don't need more than a couple grand per trade to see some pretty significant returns when trading options, right? So I'll pull that in here, $675. Now, what we can see on the charts at the time of entry, if we blow up first my VWAP chart, see my entry here, we entered slightly above my middle VWAP. We did push up for just briefly, and I was just barely in the red before we then pulled back into our middle VWAP. Second test, traded a bit below, pushed above, formed a lower high here, and then we saw a break below. We had enough sellers getting involved here, and we saw a nice shift from reds back to our mean, which was at that time right around our middle VWAP, also lined up with our 8-day EMA on our envelope system here. And if you want to set up your chart just like I do with these envelopes, well, I posted a video yesterday on the channel on how to do that. So at this point, we obviously knew that IBM was balanced. We could reference our MAs here. You could see how they were flat. So we expected at that point the pattern that we typically see, which would be a mean to low tide. So essentially a short from middle VWAP to bottom VWAP. You could see where we got out of this trade. That was actually low of day. So in order to time an exit like that, we're looking at two things here. We're going to be looking at our envelope system relative to our mean, where our bar's trading at. So I did exit here on blues. You could see here how lowest point of day also lined up perfectly with our bottom VWAP there. So that's why I say that's a mid to low tide. So we know the tide goes in, the tide goes out. So this was the tide came from high tide to mid tide to low tide, and then we spent the day trading under our mid tide. So that was a really clean, quick trade there. Now, the other trade that I took, I'm actually going to show you, we'll break down because I trade live every single morning in front of my mentorship. This was a trade where in under 10 minutes, I was able to make 20% profit. All right, so we're in IBIT. Let's go ahead here. Let's break down the charts. Let's talk about what we see and do some technical analysis. So for one, first things first, top left chart, we're going to look at IBIT to determine whether we are balanced or not balanced. And, well, according to our two MAs here, all right, our moving averages are going to be our 65.33. Well, our 65.33 are telling us that IBIT is balanced, right? They're flat to each other. They're far apart. We're not touching. We're not crossing. IBIT looks like it's been balanced now for several days since that last vertical aftermarket. So knowing that we're balanced means that we can expect IBIT to revert to our mean throughout today's session unless we see a vertical move. So we're going to spend 85% of that time, during today's session, unless we go vertical, we'll be balanced. It's cool that we get to talk through this live. We are slightly pulling off of blues, okay? We are breaking below our middle VWAP. We are breaking below our red band. Obviously, we're in shorts, so this is a good sign. We want to see price start to trade down on lower bands. So our bars ideally would start forming below reds on greens. And if we look back, I'm going to look back pre-market, aftermarket. I'm going to look back yesterday's session. Yesterday we had one touch of green. Prior day's session, so Friday, we were down at purples, just briefly, yellows, briefly. So it's been a while since, about, let's say, over 48 hours since we've broken below greens. So right now, would love to see greens broken. If we can also get some movement here on our VWAP. Our bottom VWAP is sitting very far away, so our low tide, ideally here, we'd stick and hold below our middle VWAP here. So that's going to be our mean right now, which we're going to keep reverting to. If we start pulling back, that mean will trail down, right? So 70, 78, our mean on our envelope system is 70, 84. So a little bit higher. So it looks like that band just closed, that bar closed below our red band. But now you can see how all of our moving averages, right? These are our EMAs, how they all just shifted and started pointing down. See how they all started pointing down really fast here. And now the degree at which we have to pull back is, well, for one, we have to pull back faster to hit these bands, right? Because they're going like this and now they're going like that. So the degree at which price has to move and come down to hit those bands, like I said, has to happen faster because these will continue trailing down. And that move, it has to be faster. So happen faster, we're going to look at MACD. Happen steeper, we're going to look at volume, if you want to look at it that way. So the more aggressive selling we can see here, that move is going to not only happen faster, but it's going to, we're going to see an accelerated move down toward those bands. We're going to see that as our MACD diverges further apart, that's going to indicate that our moving averages are increasing. That's going to indicate that speeds are increasing. So let's pop this down. I move MACD between price and lower to kind of get a better picture. Our entry, we can tag that out here as well, was our first 5-minute bar. Let's say our entry was 32, 33, right around here. So right now we're forming, MACD is pointing straight down, right? Or, I mean, at least we could see relative to pre-market, negative 39. That's quite a bit. Our open, or one off our open, was negative 24. And I mean, if we look at pre-market, it was a pretty choppy pre-market. Indecision throughout at least the hour leading up to open. You can see here how we were like cross back over. This was like 1, 2, 3 false just like moves. It looked like we were going down, looked like we were going up, looked like we were going down, looked like we were going up. And now, hey, we got the cross right going, I mean, essentially into the open here, we saw that cross. So yes, more people are getting involved. We already, by now hopping on our envelope system, could assume we were already trading at or below greens, right? Because that move happened fast enough, negative 24, negative 28 on the MACD, that we're not only getting enough aggressive sellers getting involved in the move, that the faster that happens, right, it's going to give our MAs here less time to trail down, okay? So we're seeing that we're already trading on greens, below greens, and we just hit yellows. So now we're seeing a pretty significant move happening, and we know we haven't traded on yellows since last Friday. So now bottom VWAP. So this is going to be interesting. We just hit bottom VWAP. Tide goes in, tide goes out. We know that no matter what, we are always going to move as, again, we have to be trading in a balanced market. We're always going to move from mid tide to low tide. And we're always going to see this ebb and flow of low to high tide. We always have to cross back, across that mid tide or that middle area, which is going to be our mean. And so was this, I mean, as we got involved a little bit above middle VWAP, right? This shouldn't come to a surprise that we just hit bottom VWAP, right? Because it happens for a reason. We understand why it happens. We hadn't looked at VWAP in quite some time, but we knew that we were going to hit bottom VWAP. So at this point, what we're watching for is one, continuation of speeds, continuation of aggressive sellers getting involved. We want to see the MACD continue to diverge further apart. It can only diverge so far apart, keep in mind. At the same time, we're still balanced. We can only revert so far off the mean. So as far as, this goes, we're about to touch purples. Purples we hadn't hit since Friday. We understand that. We didn't even look, but I think blues, potentially Thursday, Wednesday last week. Once we start hitting blues and trading outside of blues, that is going to signify like the end of a move, right? And so upon that here, let's go ahead. I want to lock in profit. I want to see if I can lock in, let's see, 46 a contract. It looks like this move is like getting there, right? I'm not trying to sit in this trade any longer than I should, because at this point, what do we have? We have blues, right? We have blues. There's not a huge margin for profit, and I'd rather get out here, take that profit, which we just did, because at this point it's, hey, we could trade a little bit lower. We've got that margin to blues. We're going to revert back up to our 8-day EMA. At the same time, we're probably going to see a bounce off a middle VWAP, bounce off a bottom VWAP, move back up to mid VWAP, and then at the same time, we bring in my algo for confirmational bias, and look at that. So algo lined up, bottom VWAP, algo lined up, essentially almost blues on the envelope system. So $250, nothing crazy, small trade there. But hey, $250 made in front of everyone live. So that's cool to see. And we talked through that trade. And we can see how the software sent through those IBIT puts here at 9:31. At the time those came through, IBIT was trading at 70.90. Those are the 69.50s expiring 10/17/25. They came through, contracts were going for 123. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you took any value away, don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned for more daily uploads. And if you're interested in joining my mentorship, I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.